Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, March 28th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The chairman of the Socialist Party parliamentary group, Ruçi, declared today that the Socialist Party will enter the June 18th elections, with or without the Socialist Movement for Integration. During a meeting in Fier, Mr. Ruçi had this to say: "The Socialist Party has already expressed its willingness to be in a coalition with our four-year governing ally, but the Socialist Movement for Integration has not yet made their decision. We are open to a coalition as we are open to present our alternative for the upcoming elections, with or without the Socialist Movement for Integration." Mr. Ruçi also commented on the opposition's boycott, calling it an effort to create an artificial crisis, and urged the opposition to return to Parliament, saying it is true that demonstrations and protests are a democratic means in a democracy, but boycotting Parliament, just as the judicial reform is about to be finalized, is unacceptable. The reform passed with the help of national and international factors, but it would not have been possible without the international assistance. No international can understand a political party that publicly claims to be the alternative to come into power, but declares it will not participate in elections. No international can understand how a political party, 3 months before elections, is asking to remove the government and create a provisional one. I hope that the opposition comes out of its tent and returns to Parliament to give its options, its verdict, and to present its alternative for the June 18th elections. Better late than never, declared Mr. Ruçi, who then invited Fier's residents to go out to vote in great numbers in order to choose the most correct political program for them. The Socialist Movement for Integration joins the other parties which have already registered with the Central Election Commission for the June 18th elections and registered for the parliamentary elections today, proving it will participate in the elections, though it had never articulated the contrary. Meanwhile, the opposition parties have declared they will not participate in the elections as long as Edi Rama is prime minister, demanding the establishment of a provisional government, and have not registered with the Central Election Commission for the June 18th elections. Earlier today, the Minister of Interior, Fatmir Jafai, signed the regulation for the procedures of drafting the electronic electoral list for the local elections in Kavaje, which will be held on May 7, 2017. The guideline envisages the compilation of the electors' list in an electronic format according to the legal deadlines and the online downloading of the respective applications from the National Register of the Civil Registry Office. Kavaje's civil registry offices should print, sign, and seal the electorals list for every voting center by March 29th. The mayor on duty then approves and signs the lists and sends them to the relevant electoral commissions by March 31st. Elections will be held in Kavaje since the Central Election Commission has removed the mandate of Elvis Ruçi, the former mayor, for violating the decriminalization law. Democratic MP MP Bregu was invited to our program tonight, Il Votare, where she declared that the Democratic Party is not against the judicial reform and the party has no political interest in not going through with it. Ms. Bregu claimed that vetting is being used as an alibi and that the vetting process is blocked because there are no candidates. She said, vetting is being used to forget all the other problems the country has. We are not yet on the day when vetting commissions should be approved. The process was returned to the Ombudsman for selecting candidates. Legally, we have 3 weeks' time. We have voted in favor of the judicial reform. The Democratic Party is not against the reform. The DP has no interest in not going through with the judicial reform, declared Bregu. Meanwhile, the Socialist MP Irvin Bouchati called the Democrats' boycott the wrong tactic, saying, "We would have won 2 years' time if we had been together 2 years ago as we were on July 21st. We would have seen the judicial reform implemented, and no one would have dared to manipulate the elections, declared the socialist MP. Breitbart News, the U.S. news portal, publicized a part of the DP chairman's visit to Washington, who, while in Washington, declared that Albania is in great danger as the prime minister has allowed crime and corruption. Basha is quoted as saying, "The problem of collusion between politics and crime is not new to the Balkans, but the unique problem for Albania is the outright promotion and presence of people with terrible criminal records convicted in European Union states for offenses such as drug trafficking, prostitution, human trafficking, and other organized crime offenses." He also claims that criminal gangs and groups tied to terrorists are operating cannabis farms, and there are drug distribution and warehousing organizations with immunity under Rama's government. Among the leaders Basha met during his visit to Washington were Congressman Pete Sessions, Chairman of the House Rules Committee Congressman Michael McCall, Chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, and Congressman Ed Royce, Chairman of the House Foreign Relations Committee. The Dutch-educated lawyer also attended the National Republican Congressional Committee's annual dinner on Monday, where President Donald Trump delivered the keynote address, writes the U.S. news portal. Basha also met with California Republican Dana Rohrabacher, a senior member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the chairman of its Europe, Eurasia, and Emerging Threats Subcommittee. A further complication, the DP chairman declared, is that Rama has a relationship with financier George Soros, claiming that his personal attacks on Soros and his support for President Donald Trump have made him the target of Soros organization smears. "I have been viciously attacked by him and his people, and also the international media, because I am a Trump supporter." The U.S. news portal also cites Congressman Rohrabacher, who is learned to have expressed support for the DP chairman, saying Albania is on the front lines in the battle against radical Islam. "If we are going to defeat radical Islam and have a stable Europe, we need someone who can get the job done. Lulzum Basha, who I have known for some time, is just the person to get that job done." The Ombudsman announced today that 101 vetting commission candidates have completed and submitted their documents at the Ombudsman's office. 101 candidates have submitted their missing documents to the Ombudsman's office. Documents were submitted through official post office, electronic post, or candidates personally bringing their documents to the office. We want to give notice that the number of applicants may increase as other candidates who sent their documents through the official post, which arrived within the March 27th deadline, are being reviewed still, reads the Ombudsman's notification. The Ombudsman also announced that today, March 28th, marked the start of the evaluation process for the documents submitted by candidates of the Vetting Commission, the commission which will verify judges and prosecutors under the judicial reform. The international monitoring operation is overseeing the experts that will be evaluating the documents to see if the candidates meet all the legal criteria. Earlier, the Democratic Party sent a request to the Constitutional Court to review and possibly repeal articles of the law on the governing bodies of the justice system, and the court is expected to make a decision in the coming hours. The Democratic Party is against articles which refer to the functioning of the Supreme Judicial Council and the Supreme Prosecutorial Council, with DP experts arguing that the selection of 10 members for both institutions is unconstitutional. The Democrat experts also reject the participation of the Minister of Justice in the meetings of the Supreme Council of Prosecution, which by law would govern the bodies of the justice system. However, Parliament's legal experts and the Socialist MP Vasilika Husi told the judges that the law does not violate the Constitution and asked for the court to reject the Democratic Party's request, saying that the Democratic Party's appeal is meant to obstruct the judicial reform. The Association of Prosecutors and the Union of Judges have also appealed to the articles of the law on governing bodies of the justice system, also claiming they are unconstitutional. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.